This is the plaintiff, Ciara. She says she was rear-ended while she was at a full stop by the careless defendant, and the woman won't pay to have her car repaired. She doesn't know who this woman thinks she is, but she wants her $1,407.47 and can't wait for the judge to rule in her favor today. This is the defendant, Sabrina. She says she has an Infiniti QX60 and isn't saying she's better than the plaintiff, but her car was all banged up to begin with. She admits hitting her taillight, which cost $60, but this woman's trying to get a whole new bumper out of her when it was already dented. Some people. She's accused of rear-ending a woman.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome, Your Honor.
October 21st, 7 p.m. You're driving where?
Cross Island. I was leaving Long Island, heading into Queens.
And who was in the car with you?
Myself and my mom.
Okay, and what happened?
So I was exiting the Cross Island. I was preparing to merge onto oncoming traffic, and I was paused, and the defendant rear-ended my car.
Because she didn't see that you were paused?
Your Honor, I cannot speak for what she could see. I don't know, but I was paused.
How hard did she hit you?
It was a moderate impact. My foot was on the brake, so it was enough to jerk myself and my mom forward.
Okay, so what happens?
So I put on my hazardous lights, and myself and my mom, we exit the car to kind of, assess the damage. There were two statements that stood out to me from the defendant. The defendant made a statement, I think she said, I thought you had it. And then she made another statement saying, you had it, why didn't you go? Which kind of irked me. She was kind of deflecting ownership. So at this point, the defendant and the gentleman she introduced as her brother, he kind of he stepped in, and he presented as a bit more mature because he said, you know what, at the end of the day, we hit your car. We then began conversing about, the damage. And they were kind of downplaying the amount of damage that was caused. She referenced a tap. It was more than a tap. But I decided to kind of empathize with both the defendant and her brother.
So you didn't really know either one of them, and he's assuring you we don't have to wait for the police, we'll take care of this, and, I have a friend you can go to, and so you just exchange information, and then at some point in the next few days, you took your car to get your own estimate?
Yes, ma'am. I reached out to the brother the following day via text, and I requested, or I proposed how we would handle it. I said that I would have the car appraised twice, either by two people of my choosing or one and one. I said that we would find a median price, and he'd give me the cash, fair for both people. I have insurance, but he seemed like a decent gentleman. And I had enough information. I had both of their license, a picture of both of their license, as well as the defendant's license plate.
Okay. So what happens?
So the same day, I take my car to be appraised by a mechanic of my choosing. And when I went, the estimating officer looked at the damages, and her estimate was, she said, approximately $1,000. She said, give or take, it could be a little bit more or a little bit less. As she also told me that the price for a written estimate would be $40. So I immediately text the defendant's brother. I also included a picture of the business card with the estimating officer's information. I told him what she said. He responded pretty quickly, and I asked him to give me the address of a place of their choosing. It just so happens that the place that he texted me was like 5 minutes from my place. So I went there immediately.
Okay, so Miss Sabrina, what happened here? How did this accident happen?
Okay. The plaintiff was coming off of the highway. I was driving behind her. She came to a full stop, and then she proceeded, and then she stopped again. So I'm following behind her to come to my full stop because I'm thinking she's going, and she stops. So it was a little tap, nothing strong.
Yeah.
And, you know, we both got out the car, and that's when I said, like she said, you had it. Why didn't you go? There was no cars coming. Why did you go?
I've had, listen, Miss Sabrina, I've had this accident. I've been Sabrina in the accident where I'm right behind them, and it's absolutely your fault. It is your fault because you're supposed to be traveling at a distance where if she stops because she's more cautious, then you're supposed to be able to stop without hitting her. So there's no question that the accident is your fault. All right, now, your brother was in the car with you. What's his name, Gino?
Gino, yes.
Okay, now Gino was having, he kind of took over that night. Is he older than you, or was he just mansplaining things?
He is older than me, yes.
Okay.
So, yeah, he is only right that he protects me.
All right, and Gino is your witness, correct?
Yes.
Okay, can we talk to Gino? Let's switch a second with Gino so I can hear what happened with the negotiations in this case.
Okay.
All right, Gino, can you raise your right hand, please?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth?
Okay, so I think we're all pretty clear on how the accident happened. What I want to talk to you about is Ms. in her complaint says that you're basically that night saying, we'll take care of it. She went, she got her own estimate. And then did you send her somewhere to get an estimate?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so he gives an estimate. And how much was that estimate?
It came up to $600. $37. Yeah.
$637. All right. And were you willing to do it with his pick?
Well, no, ma'am. So two things. Per our agreement, I was never supposed to have the car fixed by his friend or my person. The agreement was that we would get two estimates, and then we would find a median, the median number, and he would give me cash. That's what we had via writing. And I said exactly what I'm saying.
Gino, tell me, what was the agreement that you reached with her so that nobody would call the police and everybody would go home that night? Was the agreement that you'd get two estimates and get the average between them?
The agreement was when we hit her car, like my sister said, it wasn't really that bad, and her bumper was already damaged as well. So I told her...
Wait. How do you know her bumper was damaged?
Because we hit her on the right side and on the left side, and her whole right side is scratched up, bumped up. It has nothing to do with our hit, because she's turning to go to get onto the street, and she jerks and stops, and then my sister hits her.
Oh, now magically all of a sudden the accident is her fault?
No, I didn't say it was her fault. No, I did not say it was her fault.
Okay.
We hit her from the back. I didn't say it was her fault. I said, per our agreement, I said, no problem. I don't think we even hit your light because of how high your light is versus our bumper. But since we hit you from the back, on this left side, I'm willing, whatever the estimate is, I'm willing to pay half. That's the part.
Pay
she
half?
did not
Why? Because according to you, she has prior damage?
Yes, she has prior damage. Her bumper was not in good standings to begin with. And nothing.
Okay, show me where her damage is. I have pictures of her car, and I see, what part did you say you hit her in?
That red left side corner, and her light had a little crack in it, which I don't believe we did it. And I said, since we hit you, I'll cover that light as well. And the bumper.
That's big of you.
But that was the agreement.
All right, what's the prior damage that you're talking about? I don't see any pictures of that. Okay, so hold on one second. Here's what's going to happen. I want you to switch with your sister. Thank you.
Okay.
I want you to switch. Yeah. And there's that picture. Can you see that picture that I have up?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm looking at this side of her bumper, and what are the damages that you're saying are there? I mean, yeah, it's a 2011 car, but what exactly would justify, once you hit her like that, she has to put in a new bumper. So what exactly would be the reason why you would get away with only paying for half? How does that make any sense?
Welcome back to the People's Court. So the plaintiff says she wants a brand new bumper. She feels she's entitled to it. The defendant is saying baloney. This bumper can be repaired. It is way too much money for the damage that was caused. Let's find out what the judge thinks.
I mean, all this damage happened in your crash because you can see the pattern, right?
My pictures don't show all that. And I have pictures on my pictures too. even on the side of her bumper, like the corner, there's scratches on that side as well. Like she must have got it painted.
Okay, but the fact that you hit a 2011 car that has a scratch somewhere else doesn't mean that you don't have to pay to repair the damage that you made. So, this isn't a tremendous, nobody is going to be injured for life. It didn't total the car. You're right, it's a tap. But a tap is a tap, you know? Whatever it is has to be fixed because it happened as a result of you following too closely behind her. That's why they call it an accident. Nobody meant for this to happen. But now where are we? We have an estimate to repair it at $637, an estimate to repair it at $1,000, and now we have a revenge estimate, right? Because once all of a sudden they weren't paying anything, you then went out and got a $1,407 estimate, correct?
Well, that's
what I like to call the revenge estimate.
It's not exactly that, but so when I finally went back and I paid for the written estimate, this is what she gave me. So once
that's from the same place that had told you the $1,000? Told you then that it would be $1,407? All right, listen, my job is to decide what a reasonable estimate is. I think this is a little heavy-handed, the $1,407. I believe that a reasonable estimate is $1,000. I am not going to make them pay the midpoint between $637 and $1,000 because that ship sailed when they didn't pay it. So I am going to award you the reasonable estimate that in my eyes is appropriate, and that's $1,000. Verdict for the plaintiff.
Ciao.
So the judge picks the figure of $1,000 that the defendant has to pay the plaintiff. So Sabrina, how do you feel about that? What's your reaction?
I feel like it was very unfair because there was damages there that we didn't cause as far as her light. And basically she was just trying to get a whole new bumper. Clearly her pictures and the evidence, that's a clean, buffed out bumper. And miraculously that one side all of a sudden is the only side that's messed up. But she got it. We were wrong. We did hit her, but I don't think it was that serious.
Well, it wasn't that serious. Hopefully you've learned something from this. As the judge pointed out, she's had an experience just like you have, and she was guilty. You get the middle of the three estimates you provided, $1,000. It's taken a while, I know, but you're satisfied now?
I am happy. I am glad that I chose to advocate for myself, and I'm happy. I'm satisfied. Absolutely.
All right. Well, congratulations. Good for you. Okay, that'll do it for this case. Let's join the judges now for another edition of After the Verdict.
One of the certainties of life, along with death and taxes, is eventually you're going to get in a fender bender. Somebody's going to rear end you a little bit, you're going to rear end them, something's going to happen like this.
Do you remember when we got into the same as that accident?
Yes.
Our oldest was a baby. She was in the back seat. Mm-hmm. We were by the library, and the person in front of me started rolling, and I started rolling, and then she stopped rolling, and then I was following too closely.
Right, and you're always at fault if you're behind. It's like always, always, always. So you just got to be super careful.
That's why I'm always telling you to slow down.
That's a different issue.
So Davey wants to know this. Hey, Harvey, in all the years working on the People's Court, what is your most memorable case? Well, I just loved the case of the engagement party where a guy got a lap dance and he says the stripper gave him whiplash. I mean, writes itself, folks.